Why do Thai eat with their mouths open and talk with food in their mouths? Well, it depends if this is a question or a complaint. If it's a question, I would say it because people care less about it than, let's say, people in Europe or in other countries. The reason why people care less about it is because I think this etiquette of closing your mouth while eating is still relatively new to the Thai people. Let's imagine this. Back when we are still living in the primal age of humanity, we would just procure food very casually. We would go hunting and we would eat with our hands. Imagine our hand grabbing a drumstick and then putting in our mouth. I imagine that people cared way less about whether or not they would close their mouth then. The etiquette when it comes to what is considered to be having a good manner on the table came around the same time that the dining etiquette was developed with utensils, with cutlery. When you look into the introduction of cutlery in Europe, it started from, 11th century in Italy and then 14th to 17th century in France and England. And by the 18th, 19th century, it has already been widespread that people would use knife and fork to eat. The introduction of the knife and fork brought about a renaissance in dining manners, including chewing with the mouth closed and avoiding loud sounds while eating. When it comes to Thailand, though, people stopped eating with their hands way later. When you look into this chart, then you'll see that in the 19th century, there was an attempt to get these forks and spoons introduced into the royal court, and not until the 20th century, which is a century ago, that fork and spoon became widespread nationwide. And even that, when you have Isan food, when people in Isan eating food, we still, I say we because I came from Isan, we still use our hands a lot because we eat sticky rice and you need to use your hands to make a sticky rice, a ball in your hands, so you could just make it a bite size and put it in your mouth. And you have to consider as well that Thailand is the culture where you shared food with other people. So it's eating with your hands, utensils being relatively new when it comes to its introduction. And the fact that we like to share food, and when you want to share food, you also share stories and stuff. So I guess people became more relaxed and their mouthing behavior. I think that explains why a lot of people still talking while chewing and not chewing with their mouths closed. Literally, when every one of us went to school, we would be told off by our teachers when we ate, when we ate lunch together at school, when we ate with their mouths open. But I think that is not registered to all of us when we eat at home or with our friends. Like, of course, when we eat in a society, I think most people will try as hard as possible to eat with their mouth closed. But even that, I think people slip a lot because the overall atmosphere is not so intense. Like, it's not like a crime if you eat with their mouths open. You won't be shunned. You won't be ostracized by the society for slipping into this behavior. Whereas I think in Europe, if you eat with your mouth open, then you might not have any friends, I think. When it comes to this question being a complaint, I understand you though, because last year I was having dinner with my Thai friends who were very educated and wholesome, and I noticed that they actually opened their mouth when they ate, and I found that personally a bit disgusting, and I had to resist not to tell them off. I had to tell myself that when it comes to what we consider as a civilized manner or a civilized culture, it's also something that's personal. It's based on how you grew up and the culture in which you grew up. For example, I think in most culture, when you have soup and slurp, like it's considered really bad. But in the Japanese culture, when you do that, it shows that you enjoy the meal so much. So imagine when you go to your friend's parents' place, you want to show off to your parents that you really enjoy this bowl of ramen or anything. So you would be like, And that would be considered such a wonderful thing to do, whereas it would be a no-no in any other cultures. Next question. Why do some Thai people, especially women working into a tourist area, dislike it when foreigners try to learn and speak Thai? My instinct says that this is a jealousy issue. So one day I was in a coffee shop and I started talking to a random guy. He's from England and I told him about this channel. So he was like, "Oh, I actually had a question because I dated this Thai girl and she didn't seem to be very happy for me to be learning Thai." And I thought to myself, this was a bit strange. Wouldn't it be great to share more than one language with your partner? But then it came to me that, okay, I understand it now. I think when it comes to dating foreigners for Thai girls or Thai guys as well, I suppose, I think sometimes you start having this sort of I wouldn't say inferiority complex, but I would say that it's this sort of issue where you are afraid that you would lose your person, that you would lose your thing because that person would find a replacement. So I think these Thai girls would imagine that if their boyfriends, their foreign boyfriends are fluent in Thai, then they would have a lot of opportunities in finding someone that are also Thai to replace them. Yeah, I think that is the candid answer that I can give you. A big caveat here is that this only represents a small amount of the populations. I think that most of the Thai girls or Thai guys would still be really grateful if the partners could actually speak Thai as well. I think another reason, let's say if it's not something to do with romantic relationship, it might be because these people might want to, can't believe I'm saying this, rip you off maybe? And maybe that's why they're a bit like reluctant when you could actually speak some Thai. I don't think there's a lot of ripping off in Thailand right now. Am I right? But I guess if they are aiming to rip you off, then they probably hoping that you won't understand anything that they said. But I don't believe that there's so much ripping off in Thailand right now. Or am I wrong? Next question. In many cultures, borrowing money from friends or family often causes problems and ruins relationships. Is this not taught in Thai culture? Ooh, it's not really a question, is it? But I can tell you that it is taught in Thai culture. But you have to understand that I think generosity is also a big value in the Thai culture as well. So I think people are divided between being smart and being generous. So a lot of people that I know would lend money and sometimes a lot to their families, cousins, and close friends. And sometimes they won't get it back. Sometimes that would cause the end of that relationship. I know some people that would have this mindset going on and they would say, okay, I have about 50,000 baht that I can lose. And if I lend it to someone that I don't expect to get it back. So yeah, there are such people as well. But I would say, yeah, it is taught. But then I think for a culture that people tend to help each other, it's actually quite a difficult dilemma to have. Next question. How easy it is for foreigners to buy land or house and grow old in Thailand, or do we have to rent? I'm not an expert on this, and I've heard so many times that renting is a smarter option, but I know that you can also buy land if you talk to a lawyer and then you can buy land under a company or something. So I suppose that a lawyer would advise you to found a company and buy land. Or if you have a Thai partner, a wife or a husband, then that could also be a good idea to buy in their names as well, especially if you have kids, then you know that these houses and land would go to them once you cease to exist. Who gave you your nickname? Also, why do Thai students seem uncomfortable sharing their parents' names in the classroom? Super interesting question. The second question, I mean, there is this thing that Thai children are afraid of, and it is when your friends know your parents' name. It's quite a thing that children like to tease the other children by calling them with their parents' name. I suppose this is because in the Thai culture, parents are valued really highly. There is this saying in Thailand that parents are the monks, the gods in the household. So when you see your parents in such a high position, I think calling their names out so casually would become a little bit offensive, right? Just imagine, okay, let's say my mom's name is Sarah. And then my friends at school just keep calling me Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. And I was like, oh, this hurts a bit. And by the way, in Thailand, you don't call your parents with their names. And your friends also don't call your parents with their name. Let's say if I go and meet my friend's parents, I won't be able to call them with their names. I have to call them dad or mom. I think it sounds very unique for other cultures, but in Thailand, we call most people that aren't our age with some sort of familial status. So we call a mother figure, mom. We call an auntie figure, someone who is around your aunt age, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa. Names are quite delicate, and maybe this also adds up to the fact why people feel offended when you tease them with their parents' name. When it comes to my name, I was given this name by my mom. So the story was this: she was on the way to the hospital to deliver me, and she was in the car with my granddad. And I think it's my granddad that turned on the radio, and for some reason, this geeky DJ was saying that if James Watt, who is the Scottish scientist who invented the steam engine, which led to industrialization, was still alive, then he would be this and this many years old. And so my mom got an idea. Okay, if he was born on the same day with James Watt, let's call him James. But the way that Thai pronounce words, we don't pronounce the last consonant so much. So James become Jaem, and it's written in Thai. So when it comes to my English spelling, we just chose it ourselves. Is there a masculine way and feminine way of saying I am in Thai? Oh, it's complicated. I had to make a video on this. Do Thais say 2025 or 2568? Okay, so this is the AD and B. AD is, I think, Anno Domini? Anno Domini? Whatever. And B is Buddhist era, I think. Both. Actually, both. I think most Thais are aware of both years. And these years change in the 1st of January and not the Songkran, the Thai New Year. In 1941, Thailand moved New Year's Day to January the 1st to follow international standards. Since then, Songkran has been a cultural festival, not the official New Year. I think the interesting thing is this. I think when it comes to people that deal more with international people, I think those people tend to identify with 2025 more. And I think when it comes to older people or people that live in an area where they don't have to interact so much with people outside of Thailand, I think they would identify with 2568 more. In my case, interestingly, so before the year 2000, I used to think of the year in the Thai year. But once it turned to 2000, I realized it was so easy to just count from then on. So it's 01, 02. So right now we have 25 versus 68. And for me, it's easy to just think of 2025 rather than 2068. I had this funny story that I witnessed myself. I was talking to someone in Chiang Mai about like the year when I moved to Chiang Mai, and I was telling them that I moved to Chiang Mai in 2014, and this person actually had no idea which year I was talking about. So I had to do the recalculation and told them, oh, it's 2557. But I think for me that was so interesting because for me nowadays it's much easier to do the AD, and I think for the person I was talking to, I think he didn't get to talk so much with someone untie. His year in his brain is still the Buddhist era year. Sometimes I hear Sawaddee Jao instead of Sawaddee kráp. What does it mean? And is it regional? It is regional. Sawaddee Jao is the northern word, it's a northern dialect. So instead of Sawaddee kráp or Sawaddee kráp, people would use the word Jao instead of kráp or ka. It's mostly used by women, but it is also acceptable for men to use this word as well. So basically, it's the substitute for kráp or ka in northern Thailand. Try it, it's quite sweet. I love it. Can you explain why Thai TV programs geared towards adults as well as children often use what I would consider to be comedic sounds similar to slapstick or Saturday morning cartoon sounds for embellishment purposes? I think you meant the sound like dong dong, bang, ding dong dong ding, quack boy. Like these sort of sounds when people are throwing puns, right? Yeah, I noticed that as well. I think there are maybe a couple of reasons. I think the first reason is that cute culture is quite appreciated in Thailand. I think the Western culture is probably a bit more afraid of being cute. I answered this question in the last video that I think when it comes to what Thai people like to show and what Westerners like to show, there's differences. I think Westerners don't want to show their vulnerability and what they perceive as weaknesses. And I think that shows in the sort of sense of humor that we perform. Another reasons is because of how the comedic scene in Thailand is developed. And I think it was first developed commercially at cafe and restaurants. Usually like this cafe and restaurants in the nighttime, you have a group of comedians performing with a band. And when these comedians were saying something funny or when they were throwing puns, the bands would roll the drums. Yeah, or do some sort of like sound effect. And I think when this culture was taken into TV, then the comedian would also take this band along with them. And I think it creates this sort of a familiarity that whenever something funny was being said, there should be a certain sound effect. So I think that is a number two reason. I think the third reason is something to do with taste of the people when it comes to the sense of humor. I think the Thai sense of humor tends to be more lighthearted. There is, of course, sarcasm in Thailand, but when you compare Thai sense of humor to Slavic sense of humor, which is way darker. Like the darker sense of humor wouldn't require any drum rolls or anything. But when it comes to the more lighthearted sense of humor, more slapstick sense of humor, then you could add some sort of sound effect. And I think when it's used so much, then people became so familiar with it, so much so that it's quite hard for them to let go of these things. I think I've started to see a new trend of how sense of humor is delivered nowadays, but it's still in developing process. I would say that probably in the next 10 years, we would see the emergence of a different style of Thai comedy. Which episodes or topics feels most personal or meaningful to you? Oh, I would say that most of the episodes are meaningful to me, but I think if I have to name a few episodes, it'll be those about the dark sides of Thailand. And that's because, when I grew up, I had this sense of unhappiness within me. I wasn't a very happy-go-lucky sort of kid. I had a lot of questions. I got bullied a lot for just being the way that I was, the way that I am. And I was struggling just going to school. Like, I think when I woke up in the morning, I would feel a bit scared and I think at the same time depressed about it. And when I grew up and I met people from Thailand as well as outside of Thailand, I think people told me about how easy their childhood were and how people were jealous of growing up, let's say, in the US and not in Thailand. They would say things like, oh, it must have been so much fun and relaxing growing up in Thailand. And I can see all of that, but my experience wasn't like that. So for me, in a way, I have this love-hate relationship with this culture and with this country. And the way that I think that I should heal from this is just to look at it head front, to look deeper into what it means to be Thai, what it means to grow up in this culture, against not against, but like in conjunction with being myself and asking questions. So what I'm doing right now is in some way for you and in some way for myself as well to look deeper and to heal by expressing it. And I hope that it provides you good information, and in some ways, maybe you can also heal a little bit by watching this channel as well, or at least enjoy some of the things that I said. What experience have you had with viewers' feedback that led you to see Thailand or your work from a new perspective? Oh, there are so many things. I'm so grateful for my audience because I learned so much. But I think one of the things that really stands out to me is when I hear from people that live abroad and they may be Thai, they may be half Thai, or they may be a non-Thai person, but someone who really wants to belong somewhere. And I think every time I receive such comment that they feel like they learned something or they're grateful, I feel that my heart lit up, and I realized the meaning of this work, and it affirms my confidence and my commitment in producing a content that is the most informative and the most candid as possible. These are just like small little things among so many things I learned from my audience. But I would say, yeah, it's this realization that my work matter, someone resonates with it, and I would keep working hard on it.